Okay, this is the final part 3 of the Donald C. Canestraro filing from the Office of Military Commissions regarding an illegal operation from the CIA and Saudi intelligence, the Intelligence Directorate, or the GID, regarding two known Al Qaeda operatives, Khalid al Mihdhar and Wafel Hazmi. Now, in part 2, which I'll link at the bottom of the description, I talked about I read part of the document where the FBI, according to former ex-FBI and commission officials, um, that they were impeded from investigating Saudi links into the 9/11 attacks. And this came from their superiors. So, without further ado, let's go to the final page. During October of 2016, I met with a former CIA case officer whose identity is known to me and is herein referred to as CS11. CS11 told me that she served in the operations division of the Central Intelligence Agency for approximately 6 years. CS11 stated that she was assigned to the UBL station sometime prior to the 9/11 attacks. CS11 stated that while she was assigned to the UBL station, she observed activity that appeared to be outside the normal CIA procedures. CS11 recalled that one analyst herein referred to by the cryptonym MMM controlled operations at the station. CS11 stated that normally a case officer is responsible for managing operations at a station. CS11 told me that the analysts at UBL station mostly stuck to themselves and did not interact frequently with other employees at the station. CS11 stated that it would have been difficult for MMM to run an operation out of UBL station without approval from other CIA officers. CS11 explained that a chief of station would normally not allow MMM to communicate an operational plan via email. Instead, CS11 explained a chief of station, or COS, would normally require that operational orders be communicated from UBL station to the COS via a cable. CS11 stated that she believes that MMM did not have the ability to send cables at a UBL station on his or her own. CS11 stated that normal communications traffic at the CIA would be sent from UBL station to CIA headquarters. At CIA headquarters, the cable would be routed to the various sections that handle specific areas of the world for approval. The cable would then be sent to the COS for action. CS11 recalled that MMM and her team of analysts used their pseudonyms when communicating with members at UBL station. Now, MMM, I believe, like I said yesterday, is Michelle and Casey or Alfreda Ambakowski. It's one of them. CS11 noted that this behavior was unusual in that analysts did not work undercover and their employment with the CIA was not classified information. During November of 2016, I interviewed a former FBI agent whose identity is known to me and is herein referred to by the cryptonym CS12. CS12 told me that she served as an FBI special agent in the New York field office during 2001. CS12 stated that she was assigned to the investigation of the bombing of the USS Cole in Yemen. CS12 recalled that sometime in June of 2011, she, and other FBI agents met with CIA representatives regarding the Cole investigation and other terrorism matters. CS12 recalled that the CIA analysts from UBL station may have attended the meeting as well. CS12 recalled that an FBI analyst detailed to FBI headquarters also attended the meeting. CS12 recalled that the FBI analyst told her that there was certain information sharing restrictions regarding the photographs due to the wall that was erected between intelligence and investigations. CS12 explained that a wall had existed per Department of Justice and other government agency guidelines between information gleaned from intelligence sources and information obtained during the course of a criminal investigation. According to CS12, the wall had been erected to prevent agents from leaking classified information to unauthorized individuals during grand jury or other court proceedings. That much is true. That wall does exist, and similarly still does. CS12 stated that during the meeting, FBI agents were shown 3 photographs of suspected terrorists. CS12 stated that the CIA asked him or her if one of the photographs was Fahad al-Qusso. Actually, let me go back. This is June of 2011. It's really June of 2001. June of 2001. CS12 stated that during the meeting, FBI agents were shown 3 photographs of suspected terrorists. CS12 stated that the CIA asked him/her if one of the photographs was Fahad al-Qusso, an al-Qaeda operative suspected of involvement in the bombing of the USS Cole. CS12 told the CIA that she was unsure if any of the photos were al-Qusso. CS12 stated that another FBI agent at the meeting began to ask CIA officials pointed questions regarding the photographs. CS12 recalled that his or her FBI colleague asked CIA officials, "Where are the other photographs? And where is the surveillance report?" I believe CS12 is Dina Corsi. I'm not sure, but the CIA analyst there is Clark Shannon. CS12 stated that the CIA refused to provide any additional details regarding the surveillance photos, along with biographical information regarding the subjects of the photos. CS12 explained to me that a standard investigative technique at the time that the meeting took place was to put a stop on all terrorist subjects under an agent's investigative purview. CS12 stated that a stop is law enforcement term for a border crossing alert on a particular subject. CS12 stated that once a stop is issued, agents are alerted immediately when a subject comes into the United States from another country via a computer system. A little bit about this meeting in June. There would be another meeting in July. But this June 2001 meeting, in which Clark Shannon is actually showing photographs to the FBI regarding Fahad al-Qusso. And also later on, in July of 2001, he shows photographs of 3 of the al-Qaeda operatives that were at the Malaysia summit meeting. And they were Khalid al-Mihdhar, and the other one was Tawfiq bin Attash, known as Khalad. And he asked the FBI who these people are. Now, Margaret Gillespie, who is also an FBI agent tasked to the Bin Laden issue station, codename Malik Station, she also is an FBI agent working out of New York. Now, she goes and shows the FBI these photographs too in June. And they're asking her in Washington, D.C., well, who are these people? But she doesn't know herself because Alfreda Ambikowski, who gives her these photographs, doesn't tell her who's in these photographs, and tells her to go back to Washington, D.C. and see if the FBI knows them, under the guise that the CIA wants to know more information about the USS Cole bombing, which I don't believe that to be true. I believe that they were fishing to see whether the FBI knew who these people were. And if they did know them, that means that this operation is now in danger of being uncovered. But what I just said is speculation, so don't take it as fact. CS12 recalls asking the meeting attendees who is doing stops on the 3 subjects. CS12 stated that no one at the meeting had placed a stop on any of the 3 subjects in the photographs. CS12 related that he or she argued with the FBI analysts on the need to place stops on the subjects of the photographs. CS12 stated that he eventually learned, oh, CS12 can't be Dina Corsi. Dina Corsi is a she. Is this Steve Bongard? He was also there. CS12 stated that he eventually learned that one of the subjects of the photographs was Khalid al-Mihdhar and the other one was Nawaf al-Hazmi. CS12 told me that she continued to press FBI headquarters for further information regarding the subjects in the photographs later in the summer of 2001. CS12 recalled that sometime during the day on August 23rd, 2001, she opened an electronic communication known in the FBI as an EC from headquarters concerning the subjects of the photographs. CS12 recalled that the EC contained information showing that Al-Hazmi and Al-Midar were in the United States. CS12 stated that she then contacted the FBI analyst regarding the electronic cable. CS12 recalls that the conversation between her, and the analyst became heated when the analyst told CS12 that she was not authorized to view the electronic cable and that she was ordered to delete it immediately. I believe CS12 is talking to Dina Corsi. Snob convinced CS12 is Steve Bongard. CS12 stated that the analyst told her that the information contained in the electronic cable was obtained from intelligence sources, and as a result, the Wall rule applied. Now that's right, because the intelligence came from the CIA. And in order to act on that information, Bongard has to get authorization from the CIA to use that information, because if this is a criminal investigation and Bongard wants to arrest or detain these people, he has to use CIA information because that's where he got the information from, right? Dina Corsi is telling him that you can't use that information. But Bongard has a right to be outraged. Why didn't the FBI know about these two people? They're inside the United States. What's the holdup? He would be right, but he can't act on the information. Get it? You understand what I'm saying? Right? That's like when Michelle Ann Casey told Mark Rossini and Doug Miller that you're not allowed to send that information because it's CIA information, even though the jurisdiction is inside the United States, and that is the Department of Justice, the FBI. So now the whole mix-up is, it goes back to the point. Why didn't the CIA tell the FBI that two known al-Qaeda operatives, Nawaf al-Hazmi and Khalid al-Midar, were inside the United States? Because that would blow the operation, like I said before. And according to this declaration, the operation now encroaches on foreign intelligence, and that's Saudi Arabia. And according to Donald Canestraro and to the ex-FBI officials and congressional officials, they're saying that this was a covert operation working together with the full knowledge of the director of operations, James Pavitt, and the director, George Tenet, and also to the directorate of the Saudi General Intelligence Directorate, Prince Turki Al Faisal. Okay, follow me along. Let's get back to the point. CS12 related that on or about August 24, 2001, she participated in a conference call with the analyst and the special agent who was the acting bin Laden unit chief at FBI headquarters. Who was the acting bin Laden unit chief at FBI headquarters? Was it Ed Getz? Or Jack Clunan? I'm believing it's either Ed Getz or Jack Clunan. I'm not sure. But the people that participate in this conference call is Steve Bongard, Dina Corsi, and either Jack Clunan or Ed Getz. Anyway, CS12 stated that the call lasted approximately 45 minutes. During the call, officials at FBI headquarters told CS12 to stand down and to cease looking for Khalid al-Midar. Why? Who gave that order? Was it Dale Watson, the assistant director of the Counterterrorism Center at the FBI? Was it the director, Robert Mueller? I don't know. I'd like to know, because the FBI, either at this point, I'm not sure, didn't know whether Khalid al-Midar was inside the United States, or that, no, I'm sorry, yes, they did know, but did they know to get links to Khalid, Tawfiq bin Attash? Because then they could connect that to the Malaysia summit meeting, and then they can basically open up in a criminal investigation. Right now, it's information, right? So now they're just basically trying to gather information about Khalid al-Mihdhar, the FBI. And later on, they did. And I forgot the name of the FBI, young FBI agent that they tasked to find Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi once the FBI found out they were inside the United States, thanks to the CIA in that meeting. Let's continue. CS-12 explained that headquarters officials told him heard that they were seeking to open an intelligence gathering information on al-Mihdhar. Right? That's like I said before. As CS-12 was assigned to a criminal rather than intelligence billet at the New York office, she was not authorized to pursue the case against al-Mihdhar. CS-12 stated that she emailed the analyst the next day regarding the conference call. In the email, CS-12 told the analyst that someone is going to die unless the case against al-Mihdhar was pursued further. Now CS-12 is Steve Bongard, because Steve Bongard actually wrote that infamous email to Dina Corsi. And he was fed up. And Steve Bongard got some credit for his honesty and his aggressiveness toward the case of Khalid al-Mihdhar. From Carl Levin at the Joint House Inquiry. But Steve Bongard was actually behind a partition. He was not publicly known. CS-12 stated that immediately following the attacks on 9/11, she and other New York agents, based FBI agents, participated in a second conference call with FBI headquarters. It was during this call that CS-12 learned that al-Mihdhar and al-Hazmi were on the flight manifest of one of the planes that was used in the attacks. That would have just been enraging. Almost like when the CIA analyst in Yemen gave photographs to Ali Soufan, an FBI agent based out of New York, who's investigating the USS Cole attack, and was shown photographs of Khalid al-Mihdhar, Nawaf al-Hazmi, and Tawfiq bin Attash, also known as Khalid, at the Malaysian summit meeting in the hours on September 11, 2001. And Ali Soufan tells that story. He runs to the bathroom, he throws up. Imagine CIA has this, and like, trolling almost at this point, showing that, hey, yeah, by the way, we had this information. Why the fuck didn't you tell us? Right? I don't know how everyone's not on this document. I can't get on. I know I've been complaining for 3 days, but this is, this shows the CIA in a truly public shattering light. We need the Frank Church hearings again. CS-12 stated that one of the analysts assigned to the FBI New York field office ran the two hijackers against commercial databases. CS-12 told me that the analyst quickly found that the two hijackers had addresses in San Diego. By the way, also, just to add, I don't think this document talks about it, but there was an FBI informant that I did mention yesterday named Abdul Sheikh, who had a handler, Steve O'Brien, out of San Diego, who had him as a highly placed confidential source inside the Muslim community that lasted in the early 1990s. And Abdul Sheikh told him that there were two young Saudis just arrived in the United States, but he never told them their names. And Abdul Sheikh would tell lies, saying that, yeah, I worked at a San Diego University teaching courses. Well, he never did. He's actually still in the United States. I don't know if he's alive, but how come nobody's talking to him? Fascinating. CS-12 told me that on or about September 14, 2001, she contacted the FBI analyst regarding information on the hijackers involved in the attacks. CS-12 stated that the analyst subsequently provided her with a fourth surveillance photograph from the same surveillance operation that was referenced above. That's from the Malaysia summit meeting. CS-12 stated that Walid bin Attash was depicted in the fourth photograph, Khalid. CS-12 stated that this was the first time she had seen the photographs of bin Attash in this context. CS-12 recalled that she asked the analyst about the photograph, and the analyst was unable to provide any details as to why the photo had not been shown to the agents at the New York meeting. because it was being kept from you. Because if you made the connection, if Steve Bongard made the connection between Khalid al-Mihdhar, Nawaf al-Hazmi to Tawfiq bin Attash, that means there's a direct connection between these two guys who were in the United States to the Cole attack. And that means the FBI would have put a criminal investigation, not an intelligence investigation, but a criminal investigation, either detaining or arresting both men for their terrorist ties to a known group that was involved with a criminal attack on a U.S. naval ship. That's why it wasn't told to him. What else would it be? CS-12 noted that the photograph showed bin Attash in an airport and that he was immediately recognized due to his missing leg. Interesting. I wonder if this is the airport in Bangkok, because Tawfiq bin Attash was actually traveling with Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi to Bangkok, and that was just before Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi then took a second, a connecting flight to Los Angeles International Airport, which landed on January 15th, 2001. CS-12 stated that he, she, and the other New York-based agents had been shown the fourth photograph. They would have immediately linked al-Hazmi al-Mihdhar to bin Attash, a prime suspect in the USS Cole bombing. What did I tell you? That's the reason why. As a result, the inquiry into the two hijackers would have shifted from an intelligence-based investigation into a criminal investigation, and agents would have been able to devote the full resources of the FBI's New York field office to efforts to find the two hijackers in the summer of 2001. Bingo! So, the CIA is interfering with a criminal investigation with the FBI, knowing full well that's exactly what they did. Right. And because of this, the reason why they didn't want the FBI to know was because they were running their own covert operation with the Saudis involving Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi. CS-12 told me that she testified before the 9/11 Commission and also gave a statement to investigators conducting an internal inquiry regarding the events of 9/11. CS-12 stated that during his or her testimony before the commission, she stated that she had not seen the above referenced photograph of bin Attash until after 9/11. CS-12 stated that following his or her testimony, then CIA counterterrorism official Cofer Black told the commission that CS-12 was aware of the photograph before the 9/11 attacks. Look at Cofer Black line. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. No. It couldn't have been before, because they would have put a criminal investigation on Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi. Damn sure that's exactly what would have happened. There was enormous pressure for the FBI to investigate the USS Cole attack. Enormous pressure. So Cofer Black is lying here. According to CS-12, Black told the commission that CS-12 had shown the photograph in Pakistan to an informant that CS-12 had debriefed in March or February of 2001. I never heard that before. Doesn't mean it didn't happen, but I doubt anything Cofer Black says. Let's continue. This is interesting. CS-12 told me that the informant was an FBI source who had been turned over to his or her agency by the Drug Enforcement Administration agents assigned to Pakistan. CS-12 stated that Black had been untruthful with the 9/11 Commission, as she had never seen the photograph of Wali bin Attash before the 9/11 attacks. Yeah, I believe Bongard before I believe Cofer Black, because the CIA basically lied at the Joint House inquiry and the 9/11 attacks. In fact, I did a whole episode on the CIA being questioned by Carl Levin of the Joint House inquiry, in which he interviewed Director Tennant, director of the CTC, Cofer Black, and the deputy director of the Bin Laden Issue Station, Tom Wiltshire. And they gave all conflicting testimony about what the FBI knew and what they didn't. And what they basically all said was that the FBI had information. Meanwhile, Steve Bongard, who's sitting right next to Tom Wiltshire, is saying, no, we didn't. CS12 recalled that she advised Barbara Grew, an official with the 9/11 Commission and former FBI investigator, that Black had given false information to the commission. CS12 further suggested that Grew should interview Black regarding his false statements. CS12 told me that Grew told her that the CIA is conducting its own investigation and that neither the commission nor the FBI would be pursuing the matter further. Womp womp. I believe that the Inspector General, John Hegelson, was conducting the internal investigation in the CIA. However, the CIA is investigating the CIA here. So, you know, we investigated ourselves and we found nothing wrong. So that's what this is amounts to. Now, there's some blame to go around. Oh, yeah, you could have worked better. But meanwhile, no one got fired. No one got suspended, much less given a day off. I mean, Director Tenet got the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Freedom. CS12 recalled that the CIA's own investigation into the above matter is still classified. During November of 2016, I interviewed former Senator Robert Graham of Florida. Senator Graham served as the co-chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee from June 6, 2001 until January 3, 2003. That's the Joint House Inquiry. Senator Graham is personally familiar with the workings of both the Senate House Joint Inquiry into the events of 9/11. Senator Graham also has knowledge of the investigative inquiry conducted by the 9/11 Commission. Senator Graham told me that it was apparent neither the Joint Inquiry nor the 9/11 Commission have fully explored the involvement of the government of Saudi Arabia in the events leading up to the 9/11 attacks. He's right. And also with that, Graham knew about the additional attempted hijackings, or that there were going to be additional hijackings on September 11th and September 13th. And he publicly has admitted this and talked about it. So there's that too. Now, if they weren't Saudis, who the hell were they? Because that goes against the narrative of the Bin Laden, right? The Bin Laden group, Al Qaeda. Remember, 4 planes, 19 hijackers he selected, right? If we go by that story, who the hell were these people? Where did they come from? Let's go back to the document. During December of 2016 and again in 2021, I interviewed a former FBI agent whose identity is known to me. The agent is herein referred to as CS14. CS14 told me that she was familiar with the FBI's overseas operations. CS14 told me that sometime before the terrorist attacks on 9/11, she debriefed a source of information herein referred to as CW1. Confidential witness? Confidential witness 1 had been developed as a source by another government agency and given to the FBI as she had information on terrorism. According to CS14, she was unable to work with the source alone as she did not speak the source's native language. CS14 stated that she contacted the CIA for assistance with the source. The CIA agreed to provide assistance to CS14. As a result, a CIA case officer was always present when CS14 would meet with the SOI for intelligence debriefings. CS14 stated that during one of the above debriefings, her CIA counterpart showed CW1 a series of photographs. CS14 stated that the CIA case officer did not tell her the origin of the photographs. CS14 stated that she also did not know the names of the suspects in the photos, as she did not speak CW1's language. CS14 was unaware that during the debriefing, CW1 had been shown surveillance photographs of a meeting in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, between members of Al Qaeda. These photographs are of Tawfiq bin Attash, Khalid al-Mihdhar, and Nawaf al-Hazmi, the infamous photographs that were shown to Ali Soufan in Yemen. According to CS14, she learned after the 9/11 attacks that CW1 had recognized Wali bin Attash in the same surveillance photographs as Nawaf al-Hazmi. CS14 further explained that CW1 had noticed bin Attash in the background in one of the surveillance photos of the two hijackers, and this information linked the two hijackers to Bidatash. CS-14 stated that she was never shown the full report that the CIA case officer had prepared following the debriefing. CS-14 stated that the information regarding the photo identification was never passed to FBI field officers and that Bidatash under investigation for his role in the bombing of the USS Cole. So here we go, right? The CIA is basically, once again, another CIA case officer is basically interfering with an ongoing criminal investigation from the FBI on the Cole attack. In fact, when the identification was made, the FBI agent had no idea. The CIA did, because the FBI agent did not speak this language. Okay? This person, whoever it is, this confidential witness, basically pointed out to investigators it's Tawfiq bin Akash. But the CIA officer never told the FBI this information. So there is a willful criminal interference from the CIA to the FBI regarding an ongoing criminal investigation. Incredible, right? Okay. CS-14 stated that following the 9/11 attacks, former FBI Director Mueller took 100% of the blame for intelligence failures that took place before the 9/11 attacks. CS-14 told me that this assessment was not accurate. For example, CS-14 explained to me that former CIA Director George Tenet misspoke when he described CS-14's knowledge of the photographs viewed by CW1. CS-14 stated that Tenet told the 9/11 Commission that CS-14 was told by the CIA before the 9/11 attacks that CW1 had identified Bidatash in a series of surveillance photographs taken during the meeting in Malaysia as referenced above. Tenet is lying, right? Just like I told you in videos before that Tenet was lying to the 9/11 Commission. Well, here it is, right here, right? So this document is just a one big stake in the heart of the Dracula that is the CIA. This is really damning stuff. How the media is not reporting all over this is just beyond me. It's really disgusting. CS-14 reiterated that she was never given this information before the 9/11 attacks. In June of 2021, I re-interviewed CS-14. CS-14 told me that the CIA officer who had been assisting her in the handling of CW1 had suggested to CIA officials that she be given access to the complete CIA file regarding CW1's cooperation. CS-14 stated that this file would have included detailed reporting regarding CW1's identification of individuals in the surveillance photographs referenced above. CS-14 told me that his or her access to the file on CW1 was blocked by the CIA's liaison officer at FBI headquarters. And that is Tom Wilshire. Because Tom Wilshire was once the deputy director of the Bin Laden issue station, and then in 2001 was on loan to the FBI in the investigation of the Cole bombing. I wonder what he was doing there. Was he really helping the FBI, or was he there just to make sure, because he's in headquarters, to make sure that the FBI was not aware that they were conducting their own illegal operation with the Saudis involving members of the Cole attack and two al-Qaeda operatives who were not told to the FBI that they were inside the country with dual U.S. visas. So he was there as a mole. I can't prove that, but boy, does that smell like a mole to me. Let's continue. The identity of the CIA official referenced above is the same officer identified earlier in this declaration under the cryptonym HHH. HHH is further described in this declaration as the Deputy Station Chief of UBL Station, and yes, now we know it's Tom Wilshire. The CIA unit that was involving in preventing the visa information regarding Al-Had al-Midar from being passed to the FBI. In May of 2018, I interviewed a former FBI special agent whose identity is known to me and herein referred to as CS-15. CS-15 told me that stated that she began his or her employment with the FBI in the 1980s. CS-15 stated that she served on the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force prior to his or her appointment as chief of the FBI's Bin Laden unit. Jack Clunas. This sounds to me like Jack Clunan or Dan Coleman. Oh, this might be Dan Coleman, not Jack Clunan. It's Jack Clunan or Dan Coleman. It's one of them. Anyway, let's go back. CS-15 stated that in January of 2000, there were key meetings of the Al Qaeda members of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. CS-15 recalled that the CIA was able to get photographs of the meeting's participants. CS-15 related that sometime after the meeting, the CIA shared the photographs with the FBI. However, according to CS-15, the CIA never told the FBI in what context the photographs had been taken. Instead, the CIA merely showed FBI officials the photos and asked if they knew the identities of the individuals in the photos. That sounds like phishing to me, right? They're phishing the FBI to see what they knew. Because if they can recognize the people in the photographs, then the next question would be, do you know where they are? And if they knew where they are, hey, the jig is up. These guys, they're going to go after them. Why would you ask the FBI if they knew? Well, the CIA is basically lying because the CIA says, well, we need help investigating the Cole attack. That's why Tom Wilshire is working with you. But I'm calling bullshit on that. I think they were phishing the FBI to see what they knew. That's why they sent Margaret Gillespie, their own FBI agent, first with the CIA liaison officer, Clark Shannon. And then later there was another meeting in July. CS-15 recalled that the CIA was not able to conduct any electronic surveillance of the meeting. There is rumor that the CIA, the Malaysian authorities who were monitoring this meeting at a condominium owned by a Indonesian businessman with ties to a terrorist group called Jemaah Islamiyah, which is an affiliate of Al Qaeda, and his name was Yazid Sufat. In fact, when Zacharias Moussaoui was arrested, there is a letter that was found in his possession that was from Yazid Sufat. Interestingly enough, because it was rumored that Zacharias Moussaoui was one of the members attending the January 5th to January 8th meeting at the Al Qaeda summit meeting in this house, this condo owned by Yazid Sufat, and that there was videotape of this. I don't know if that's true or not, but supposedly, thanks to Paul Thompson and his book Terror Timeline, it was reported that the Malaysian authorities took video and it was sent to Alex Station. I don't know if that's true. CS-15 recalled that the CIA never provided subscriber information to the FBI, the phone number in Yemen used in Al Qaeda messaging center. CS-15 explained that the FBI been provided with this information, and FBI agents might have collected enough material prior to 9/11 to prevent the attacks. CS-15 related that the former head of the CIA's Bin Laden unit prevented the FBI from seeing key information related to 9/11 attacks. During February of 2018, I interviewed a former FBI official whose identity is known to me and is herein referred to as CS-16. CS-16 stated that the leads developed by the FBI connected Nawafa Hazmi and Khalid al-Mihdhar to Ahmed al-Hada. Ahmed al-Hada is the man who owned the house in Yemen that was the Al Qaeda communication center. Ahmed al-Hada, a short, little brief biography of him, served in the the Afghan-Soviet War in 1979, and was an associate of Bin Laden. And Bin Laden knew al-Hada and knew about this house in Yemen, and this became the Al Qaeda communication center. In other words, if there was an Al Qaeda operative somewhere in a country like Saudi Arabia or Pakistan or Syria, these countries that are known for radical fundamentalists would basically have their phone calls monitored, or phones that would connect to terrorist hotspots like Yemen, like Saudi Arabia, like Pakistan, to be cut off. So what happened was basically if a terrorist in Egypt or a terrorist in Syria wanted to connect to a terrorist in Afghanistan, they would call this house in Yemen and basically relay a message, and that message would go to that terrorist. So you can only imagine what the NSA, who were monitoring this house from 1996, probably from 96 to 2002, what they collected. And the CIA, who was bugging this house from 96 to 2001, you can only imagine what these people were listening to. You can only imagine. CS-16 stated that al-Midar was the son-in-law of Ahmed al-Hada because Khalid al-Midar actually married the daughter of Ahmed al-Hada, Hoda al-Hada, and he was there all the time. CS-16 recalled that al-Hada was connected to the 1998 East Africa bombings by FBI special agents assigned to the New York field office. CS-16 stated FNU, first name unknown, that's what FNU means, al-Ohali. By the way, it's Muhammad al-Ohali, provided significant information to the FBI regarding the 98 bombings. CS-16 recalled that the FBI obtained a telephone number for al-Hada during the course of the East Africa bombing investigation. You know what's funny? The FBI learned about it from al-Ohali because John Antisov went to interview him, or Jack Clunan went to interview him at a hospital. And unbeknownst to Jack Clunan and John Antisov, was that the NSA and CIA already had this number back in 1996. They had no idea because the CIA and the NSA didn't tell them. Were they running an operation back then, even? I mean, this is speculation, of course, but no, it was known that, I mean, it's on the record that the CIA and NSA knew about this house in 96. All right, let's continue. All right. CS-16 recalled that the FBI obtained a telephone number for al-Hada during the course of the East Africa bombing investigation. CS-16 told me that the above information was then given to a CIA case officer. CIA already had the number, right? You know, but the FBI is acting on good faith. Hey, listen, we got an al-Qaeda communications hub, connected to the East Africa bombings. We want you to know that. Honesty, right? Only if the CIA was honest with them, or the NSA was honest with them. According to CS-16, the case officer passed the number to the National Security Agency, but the agency was already listening to this number 2 years prior. Boy, and also the agency was listening to satellite phones belonging to bin Laden and al-Qaeda members like Mohammed Atef, the military commander, Abu Ubaidah bin Shiri, the military commander of al-Qaeda, the first one, and maybe Dr. Ayman al-Zawahiri, the second in command of al-Qaeda. That's 1992. But let's just go forward. CS-16 stated that the CIA withheld the information that the two hijackers had entered the country in 2000 from the FBI on orders from two CIA employees, Richard Blee, the chief of station of Alex Station, and Tom Wilshire, the deputy chief of Alex Station. CS-16 stated that it was his or her opinion that the information was withheld as the CIA was attempting to recruit al-Hazmi and al-Midar as intelligence sources while they were inside the United States. During the spring of 2021, I interviewed a confidential source. The identity of the source is known to me and is herein referred to as CS-22. CS-22 is a former FBI special agent with extensive experience in terrorism and counterintelligence matters. CS-22 told me the following: that after the 9/11 attacks, it became impossible for the FBI to unilaterally conduct a terrorism or counterintelligence investigation without the tacit approval of the CIA. Now, here we have an FBI official basically saying that the CIA is interfering with an ongoing intelligence and criminal investigation. And it just continues, ladies and gentlemen. It's just disgusting. CS-22 further related that all officers of the local CIA domestic station located in his or office of assignment would frequently sit in the command centers of local FBI field offices where FBI agents conducted operations related to counterterrorism to monitor FBI activities. What for? Whether they collect information that would show that the CIA was basically conducting illegal operations and withholding information from the FBI regarding 9/11? Would that be it? Would that be it? Even after 9/11, they're doing this, the CIA? Disgusting. CS22 told me that the above made it easy for CIA officers to monitor FBI activities in counterterrorism and counterintelligence investigations. CS22 told me that she became aware of an investigation conducted by a private individual into the activities of a former FBI informant who might later determine the investigation to be Abdussadah Sheikh. Hey, he does mention Abdussadah Sheikh finally. This is great because he's a key player in all this because he rents a room to Khalid al-Mihdhar and to Wafa Hazmi. How about that? Interesting. CS22 told me that the investigation by the private individual was conducted sometime after the 9/11 attacks. I checked open source information and learned that Sheikh was employed by the FBI as a confidential source concerning terrorism matters prior to 9/11. CS22 related to me that the post 9/11 investigation into Sheikh's activities showed that he was receiving funds from the Saudi Arabian government while he was serving as an informant for the FBI. Wow, that's a bombshell. I had no idea, and I've covered this story a lot. Incredible. Oh, shit. Bingo. Wow, that's huge. Because if that's true, for God's sakes, Abdussadah Sheikh, Omar al-Bayoumi, Fahad al-Tamari, Osama Bastan, God knows who else, all on the Saudi Arabian government payroll. Was he known to the CIA? Let's see. This is incredible. Never heard that before. CS22 further stated that the investigation also indicated that prominent Saudi citizens would stay at Sheikh's boarding house while visiting California. CS22 told me that the investigation revealed that the Saudi Arabian government was using Sheikh to monitor the activities of its citizens while they were abroad. A review of open source documents that conducted by your declarant shows that Nawaf Azmi and Khalid al-Mihdhar rented a room from Sheikh during the spring of 2000. This is after they lived at Parkwood Apartments. That's the first house that they lived in. And they got that house from Omar al-Bayoumi. So this would mean now that Saudi intelligence knew about Omar al-Bayoumi, were paying Omar al-Bayoumi. They were receiving information from al-Bayoumi regarding Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi. Then when they moved to Lemon Grove, California, that's where Abdussadah Sheikh lived, they were looking for a room to rent. Well, guess what? They were at this mosque. They saw a sign. They saw a thing for renting rooms. They picked out the number, and waiting for them was Abdussadah Sheikh. Because he goes to the mosque and says, and he's informed that there are two men who are looking for you. Well, this would mean that the Saudi Arabian government, according to the FBI official, is basically paying Abdussadah Sheikh to monitor Khalid al-Mihdhar to Wafa Hazmi. It continues. It continues. CS23. All right, during June of 2012. I'm sorry, where am I up to now? I forgot. Okay, so CS23 is a former FBI agent with extensive knowledge of counterterrorism and counterintelligence matters. CS23 is familiar with FBI investigations into the 9/11 attacks. CS23 stated that the FBI conducted a counterintelligence investigation into the activities of Omar al-Bayoumi prior to 9/11, as FBI officials in the San Diego field office suspected that he was operating as an intelligence officer. CS23 told me that as a matter of routine, FBI officials contacted CIA headquarters for indices checks on al-Bayoumi to support their investigation. CS23 told me that CIA officials responded to the San Diego field office and reported that the CIA held no files on al-Bayoumi, which would be true, I think. Right? I never heard about that link. CS23 told me that the above represented a falsehood. CS23 stated that the CIA maintained operational files on Omar al-Bayoumi. Holy cow. Now, I read this. I must say, I read about this in Spy Talk earlier today. I forgot the guy who wrote the article. It was a fantastic article. And, well, yeah, here it is. Wow, the CIA knew about Omar al-Bayoumi. Then this is proof. This is proof that the CIA and Saudi intelligence were running an illegal operation inside the United States to monitor Al Qaeda suspects that would later be involved with the 9/11 attacks. This is it. More evidence to show for this. That the CIA knew about Omar al-Bayoumi. That's news to me. I never heard that before. This is groundbreaking, really groundbreaking. This is better than part two. This is just as good as part one. But the whole, this is one of the best revealing sources of information I have read since I heard Ray Nowosilski and John Duffy's podcast, Who is Rich Blee. This is right up there. This is remarkable information. It drives me crazy. I can't believe no one's covering this. I mean, I have some people on Twitter basically retweeting it. Finally, we're getting some, but the media should be all over this. Donald Canestraro's name should be all over I mean, this is incredible. Holy cow. I'm blown away. This is I'm stunned. CS23 explained to me that operational files of those files related to an intelligence operation conducted by a given agency. Makes sense because Omar al-Bayoumi is conducting intelligence, right? He's collecting information and sharing that information with Saudi intelligence. And according to the CIA, they're hoping they're getting that intelligence with the CIA because they're running a joint operation. Were the Israelis running a separate operation outside the CIA and Saudi's intelligence? See, now it seems evident to me, doesn't it? For those who are out there in the know about the art student ring, the moving companies in Florida, New York, and New Jersey, those are Israelis. They were doing the same thing as the Saudis were doing on the East Coast and Southwest. Were they running a separate operation outside the CIA and Israelis? I mean, the Saudis? Well, if the Israelis are involved, wow, are they really covered for them, right? All right, let's continue. CS23 further explained that she was aware of a CIA paper trail concerning al-Bayoumi. This is incredible. CS23 told me that information concerning al-Bayoumi was never passed to the FBI. Yeah, now you know why, right? Now you know why. You damn well know why. CS23 told me that al-Bayoumi was an intelligence officer in employment of the Saudi government. Now, I covered this in the Operation Encore File videos, where it shows that he was working for the Saudi Air presidency in cover of Dalla Avco, where he was a ghost employee getting payments through Dalla Avco. And the FBI interviewed people from Dalla Avco and said that I'd never seen him. So that means that the Saudi government was using Dalla Avco to make payments to Omar al-Bayoumi, to whitewash their connection to al-Bayoumi directly, in other words. So CS23 stated that Omar al-Bayoumi was directed to attempt to recruit Nawaf al-Hazmi and Khalid al-Badr as intelligence sources while they were in San Diego. Wow. Wow. CS23 stated al-Bayoumi was instructed to recruit the two hijackers at the Saudi consulate in Los Angeles by Fahad al-Thumari. Now, there it is. Now it's fact, right? Now it's fact that Omar al-Bayoumi and Fahad al-Thumari were put in those positions of prominence by the Saudi Minister of Religious Affairs, located in Washington, D.C. His name was Muassad al-Jarrah. Muassad al-Jarrah is acting directly with the Saudi Arabian government or the GID. Either one. Probably a mixture of both. And that Muassad al-Jarrah, whose name is redacted in the FBI Encore files except for one page, that's why his name is known to the public, is actually the main contact regarding this operation on the Saudi side. Now, we can't get in touch with him because he's in Saudi Arabia. CS23 told me there are witnesses to the meeting at the Saudi consulate between the two men. Yes, there was. In fact, I mentioned this in the Operation Encore files. And I also mentioned that they heard about the phone call from Malaysia in 1999. CS23 told me that the attempt to recruit Al-Hazmi al-Midar was an operation directed by the Central Intelligence Agency, another FBI agent confirming this. Now we have 5. And we have sources to back it up. CS23 told me that the CIA used a liaison relationship with the Saudi intelligence services to conduct an operation on U.S. soil. By the way, George Tenet, the director of CIA, is actually friends with Prince Turki bin Faisal. Now, he's the director of the General Intelligence Directorate, the intelligence arm of the Saudi Arabian government. Just days before the 9/11 attacks, Prince Turki, just days after or before, Prince Turki bin Faisal resigns abruptly. Wonder why he did that. CS23 told me that the Saudis were used as a go-between, as the CIA is forbidden by law to conduct intelligence operations within the United States. That's right. So that's why they needed the Saudis. They needed the Saudis because they could speak the language, and that, they could commiserate in neighborhoods that the hijackers were living in. CS23 told me that the CIA has used its relationship with allied intelligence services to conduct operations inside the United States in the past. I wonder how long that goes back. CS23 stated that CIA officials never told FBI agents in San Diego that Al-Hazmi al-Midar were in the country. CS23 told me that after 9/11, FBI officials in San Diego and at FBI headquarters became aware of both al-Bayomi's affiliation with Saudi intelligence and subsequently the existence of the CIA's operation to recruit Al-Hazmi al-Midar through al-Bayomi. CS23 stated that senior FBI officials suppressed investigations into the above. Why did they do that? Why did Director Mueller do that? That had to come from the top. Why is Mueller protecting the CIA, who were impeding the FBI's investigation into the Cole attack, even with the embassy attacks, by protecting 2 known al-Qaeda operatives who should have been monitored by the FBI to begin with because they were in jurisdiction of the FBI by being inside the United States? And here you have Mueller protecting the CIA and Saudi intelligence by telling the FBI not to investigate further, because this pressure is not coming from Mueller. It's coming from the Bush White House, because they are protecting their interests, which is Saudi Arabia, because oil is thicker than blood. CS23 told me that the FBI agent testifying before the joint inquiry into the 9/11 attacks were instructed not to reveal the full extent of Saudi involvement with al-Qaeda. Pursuant to 28 USC 1746, I declare, under penalty of perjury, that the foregoing is true to the best of my knowledge. Executed on July 20th, 2021, Donald C. Canestraro. And that is the whole document. And that part, that final part, is completely damning, because I had not known that the CIA knew about Omar al-Bayoumi. And by extension, I wonder if they have a file on Fahad al-Tamari, Osama Basnan. These were all people that were commiserating with Khalid al-Midar, Nawaf al-Hazmi, Hani Hanjour out west while they were living in San Diego. And by default, Anwar al-Awlaki, an imam in Virginia, who had was an imam in a mosque in San Diego. I think the name of the mosque is Al-Ribiat. And by default, Muassad al-Jarrah, who's in charge of all those men. Remember, Muassad al-Jarrah, like I said before, he was the one who told Omar al-Bayoumi about these two men and that he met them in San Diego. Two emissaries of Muassad al-Jarrah, I forgot their names. I mentioned them in the Operation Encore files. Told Omar al-Bayoumi about these two men in San Diego. Go meet them, that they'll come to you. And also, Muassad al-Jarrah is the one who put Fahad al-Damari as the imam at the King Fahd Mosque in Los Angeles, along with another radical imam that was a Wahhabist as well. Muassad al-Jarrah has known terrorist links to terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda and others. And why wasn't the CIA aware of this? Or if they were, did they look the other way? It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't shock me because the CIA works with nefarious people. In fact, they would rather work with people with blood on their hands because the CIA doesn't have to get dirty then. That's how they use these people. So remarkable. I sound like a broken record. Remarkable revelations. I mean, really, mind blowing. And I am hoping that somebody, anybody in the legacy media, and it's a pipe dream, or somebody in old media, where are you guys? Abby Martin, Robbie Martin. I don't know if they know. God's sake, somebody. God, I like the Tim Pool. He's not going to cover this. God's sakes, somebody with a big platform, bring this to attention. This is huge. This is enormous. You don't have to talk with me, interview me. Just get the information out there. That's all I care about. More people have to know about this. I have a small channel. I'm not going to reach many people. I reach some, but I'm not going to reach. I want a big audience to know about this. This is huge, groundbreaking stuff. Yeah, all right. That's enough for me. Listen, guys, have a good night. I will share the document in the description for you to read in full. And that is the end of part 3 of this 3-part series involving Donald Canestraro's filing from the Office of Military Commissions investigating Saudi and CIA links to 2 Al-Qaeda operatives that were involved with the 9/11 attacks. This is Adam Fitzgerald. Guys, have a good night. I'll see you in the next video.